y'all, it's Brijin, the Museum Stitcher, here on Flosstube and also over on Instagram, Ravelry, and Goodreads. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, this is my little corner of the internet where I talked about my crafting life, mostly about cross stitch, but also about some of the other things I get into. Today that also includes books. I know a lot of you guys were sad that the last episode didn't have any books, so I made sure I've got a lot of those today. It is going to be a rather action-packed episode. I have my first FFO of 2023, as well as, the last several months I've been really bad about finishing things all the way. But I also have books, like I said, I have new starts, I have new sals, I have a whole bunch of plans and things to talk about, as well as giving you an update about my crazy weekend last weekend. So it's going to be a wild time. I hope that if you are new, you find something you like and that you hit the like button, subscribe, all of those YouTube type things. And if you're returning, welcome back, and I hope you enjoy what you see. That is my mom's cat Rip, and my cat Fergus will be around. And I will give you an update on Fergus and how he's doing in just a little bit. And we also have the giveaway winners from the giveaway I did in my last video, so that'll be super exciting. And yeah, that's about everything that we're going to be covering today. So I hope you enjoy, and let's get into it. So let's start with my FFO. So I have not fully finished anything in forever, and this actually technically is a SAF, or a start and finish, because I did start it and finish it and fully finish it in the span of about 3 days, maybe actually 2. But anyway, I'll show you a picture of the pattern first. This is the Bennet Sisters by Hemlock and Stitchery. Now, I am in a group chat with Julie of Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World, who designed this pattern, as well as a whole bunch of other amazing stitchers. Julie actually sent us this pattern ahead of time before the release, and myself and Cam the Stitcher both finished it up in order to post about it when Julie officially released the pattern. So I did this one kind of as a sneak peek, but it is so much fun. It is a Pride and Prejudice theme stitch. Julie actually designed a Little Women piece in the same vein, the same style, a few years back. So this is an addition to that series, following the ladies of Pride and Prejudice, the sisters, the Bennet sisters. And this came out at a time when I really felt like rewatching Pride and Prejudice, so it was the perfect excuse to stitch and watch this movie. This took me the span of watching the 2005 adaptation of Pride and Prejudice and one of my underrated favorites, and you can tell me I'm wrong, but I won't believe you, the Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies with Lily James. Love that. It's actually a fantastic movie, in all seriousness. It's so good. So anyway, I stitched this just pulling stuff from my stash, which was really awesome. Ignore the cat things happening in the background. But my version is stitched on a 46 count over the moon linen from Color and Cotton with some stash flosses. The brown that I did all the names in is Classic Colorworks Hickory Sticks. And then on the border, the green is Color and Cotton Boxwood, the purple is Primitive Plum, and the gold in the center is Goldenrod. So mostly Color and Cotton here. And then I just took it and finished it into a cute little pillow with some of the Jane Austen at Home fabric line that came out from Riley Blake a few years ago. It's so cute, and it's the perfect accent for the little pillow. So on 46 count, this is the perfect doughboy pillow size. Julie finished hers as a bookmark, but I don't think she did it on 46 count. So anyway, this is a really fun little start and finish over a weekend while watching some awesome movies. So if you want to go support Julie, I will have her Gumroad page linked down below. It's a pay what you want type situation. This will not be the last time I talk about Hemlock and Stitchery, which is Julie's design brand. Today, I have another pattern from her. But it is really cute, and it was so kind of her to send me the pattern ahead of time to stitch, because it only took me about 5 hours, 2 days. It's so fast, especially on the 46 count linen. It's so cute. So that was my FFO. I do have some plans to do a little bit more framing and FFOing. but I haven't quite gotten there yet because last weekend was a wild ride. So I have 2 new starts since I've seen you last, which I know this is the part of the video where I tell you that all of my stitchy plans for 2023 have absolutely flown out the window. I even filmed a video talking about 25 starts for my 25th year, and I may just make it so that those 25 are my celebration starts, because there's going to be more than 25 this year. Because I have friends who do Flosstube, and it's too much fun to do stitch-alongs, and I can't restrict myself to the 25 starts that way. I just can't do it. So the 25 starts have officially been disbanded because I have gone over. But I think the patterns are worth it, and market is happening, and that's really, really hard. So, whoops. But anyway, I did have a few new starts, and the first one is the Bonds is Rotten Sal. This is a stitch along that I'm doing with my group chat friends. This is the Misspelled sampler from Hemlock and Stitchery, which I will include a picture of right here. And Julie stitched this as a reproduction sampler, so she has the original and recharted it from this. And everyone on the group chat, which is me and Cam the Stitcher, Marjorie Maid, Alexis, well, I don't know if Alexis started it, but she's in the group chat, and Megan the Seattle Stitcher, we all decided to start this around Galentine's Day. I had to start a day late because my floss was late in getting here. But this is one of Julie's patterns, and the quote is fun. This is a really fun little sampler, and we all felt like starting it, so we did, and we're starting it all together. So we're using the hashtag BondsIsRottenSal because that is one that's part of the quote on the thing, but you can also use the hashtag Misspelled Sampler Sal. We're using kind of both for this one. But I am using the Call for Classic Colorworks, and the fabric that I chose to do mine on is Hot Cocoa from BeStitchMe. It's the same fabric that Cam the Stitcher is doing on hers. We actually both independently pulled it for this project, which I think is hilarious. And it's honestly, it's the perfect fabric. But here's where I've gotten to on this one. It's not that much. I've only worked on this for about 3 days because it's been a busy little while. But I got a good chunk of the green on the border done and the first little kind of floral motif. And I have an Outlander needle minder on here for Julie, but this is an 8x8 Q-snap, and it's looking good. Honestly, so I was excited about stitching this one. I thought it's really fun, but when the flosses came in, I near lost my mind because these flosses are absolutely freaking stunning. Look at these. These are the Called for Classic Colorworks. Look at all those pinks with the orange and the gold and the blue. It's so good. So I have these on my favorite Atom Heart floss drop bobbins. And yeah, stitching it 1/2 on 40 count Hot Cocoa. This fabric, actually, I need to order some more of it. It is kind of one of those perfect neutrals that's slightly brown, and it's a little warm and a little purpley, but also kind of cool toned. And I think it's gonna be really awesome when we get into some of those lighter colors on this one, once I get past the border on the first page. So anyway, go support Julie again. This one I don't think is part of the pay what you want thing because she did put in a lot of work charting this one, and I can personally attest to the work that Julie does in making her DMC conversions. She makes sure that those things are accurate, as well as the fancy floss conversions. So your color placement with her really does, it's amazing. She does an amazing job, and I think you should go support her and check out her channel. So yeah, Bonds is Rotten Sal. It was an impromptu sal that I became a part of, and yeah, highly recommend it. I love it. And I started that one on February 15th of 2023. Okay, I will share with you my other new start, and then I'll pause to tell you the cat story, and then we'll continue on with the whips that I worked on over the last 3 weeks. So the next project that I have to share, my next new start, is the hashtag Joyous Day Sal. This is a stitch along that I'm doing with Sarah of Sarah's Stitchy Spot and Katie the Novel Stitcher, and I believe Roberta of the Sable Stitchers is also joining us. And there's been a whole lot of interest on Instagram as well, which is where I'm posting about this. But I have mine in, well, I guess, you know, this is Oh Joyous Day by Blackbird Designs is the pattern that we're stitching for this stitch along. It's really more of a start along. I don't do actual stitch alongs aside from Dark Queen of the Earth, which is not going very well, that are actually regimented. I prefer kind of a start along camaraderie type of model in my own stitching. And so that's what I like to do. So we're doing a start along. So we started the other day, but no like hard and fast rules with it or anything. We just like the pattern Oh Joyous Day from Blackbird Designs. I first saw Lauren, the New Hampshire stitcher, post about this. She posted her finish of it and it was so stunning. I went out and bought the pattern that day. And then, you know, Sarah kitted it up, Katie kitted it up. Everybody's really excited about this one. And it's so springy and fun and floral. I am making a few changes to the pattern, but I'll show you those in a second. So anyway, I have mine stored in a brand new Project Keeper from Tiger Lily Designs. I hopped on when she was selling the February ones. And so I have my Adam Hart floss drop bobbins in each pocket with the thing, and then I have the pattern slid behind here, and then I keep the project on this thing. And this is so nice to travel with. Whatever interfacing Carrie uses on these, it's so good. And I think it's just adorable. I love the patchwork. I think it's really, really well made, and I'm super excited. So for my project, I'm actually doing mine on a different fabric than the called for, like drastically different. I am stitching mine on a 40 count Nessie linen from Picture This Plus that I got from Hollis Hands Creates. And this is what I've done. The sale started yesterday. So it started yesterday, February 23rd. Today is February 24th. And this is where I've gotten to in one day. It is honestly going so fast. Needle minders from Mad for Minders. I love it. And the colors just look so beautiful on this blue. I am so obsessed with how it's turning out, and it is picking up really true to camera. So this is this first little floral motif I'm almost done with. Yeah, this one is, I mean, it's such a beautiful pattern, and it has a lot of like specialty stitches, like back stitching as borders. That's really fun and adds a lot of really cool texture. Like, I don't know that you guys can see it, but inside this motif are some long stitches that really give it cool texture. And it's so much fun. So if you'd like to join us, feel free to hop in at any time. I will have those hashtags down below in the description box if you're interested, but I am really, really looking forward to getting some more progress in on this one. I would like to, in the next few weeks, have this whole top row done of these top 4 flowers. And like I said, I am making a few changes. So in the pattern, let me show you. There is a long alphabet and then another alphabet, and I thought it was too many alphabets, so I'm changing that. So if you check out the pattern here, there is an alphabet floating around the bird and the house and the flower, and then there's also 2 rows of alphabet here. So what I did is I actually went through and used this alphabet to chart a quote, and so I'm going to rechart that there, and then I'm going to remove the Oh Joyous Day and these initials here, as well as this date, because it's not really significant to me in any way. And I have added in my initials here and my birthday. And then I changed the, 2019 to 2023. So those are the changes that I've made, but other than that, I am stitching with all the called for threads, and I just changed my fabric to be a blue instead of the brown. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with that change. There's one color, I think it's like the one in these wings, but I'm a little nervous might not show up on the fabric as well, but we will cross that bridge when we get there. And I have plenty of stash to kind of circumvent things and fix any problems that I have as I'm going. But like I said, I love this storage method with these Project Keepers. I will sing their praises for forever. The Project Keepers in combination with the Adam Hart floss bobbins, it's the best. It is my ultimate stitchy method. I have to tell you that right now. And then this is a 7-inch Morgan hoop. It is one of my favorite hoops to use, especially on the starter projects. It's just so much easier to get closer to the edge of your fabric than it is in a Q-snap. And honestly, like if I had to pick, like if a beginner stitcher is buying things, you want one of these, an 11 by 11 Q-snap and an 8 by 8 Q-snap, and you're set for life. You can stitch about anything with those three. Okay, so those were all my new starts since I've seen you last. So let me fill you in about what happened with my cat, because I know a lot of you guys have been thinking about him and praying for him, and you can see he's doing pretty good. He's the one with the white feet here. But if you don't want to, if you're not interested, skip ahead and I will have my whips of the last few weeks there, as well as all of the other parts of the video. But for those of you who are interested, my cat Fergus last week when I was supposed to film my last video, or this video I should say, he had to have emergency surgery on Saturday morning. He had a urinary blockage, and I thought it was constipation, so that's on me for not quite noticing, but we ended up having to call around to different vets to see who could squeeze him in, and someone finally did, and they went in and had to unblock it, but there was an issue that the blockage and his urethra was too small for the catheter, so they had to wait, and then there was a possibility that they were going to have to open him up all the way and go from his bladder out to clear the blockage. Luckily, on the second try, the catheter worked, and so they were able to insert the catheter and get him started on fluids and drain his bladder. So he is the most expensive free cat I've ever gotten. But he's doing okay. He's home. He had to stay in the hospital for a few nights, ended up ripping out his catheter, had to have it reinserted, had to have stitches. But he has no tumors and no kidney stones, and follow-up appointment on Tuesday. So thank you for all of your thoughts and prayers for him and his recovery. As you can see, he's hamming it up and he's doing well. We are almost a week post-operation and he is doing so much better. He's really happy to be home. So that was why I didn't film last week, because I am someone who bottles up my emotions, and when something sets me off, it usually sets off emotions that I've been storing for a really long time, and he set me off and I had an emotional breakdown, but it's fine. We made it through and I feel 10 pounds lighter. So thank you for all your thoughts and prayers with Fergus. Yeah, he's doing great. So that being said, I didn't get as much cross-stitch progress done this week because my eyes were super puffy last weekend from crying and I couldn't see my 40 count projects. So I pulled out an older project that was on 28 count because I thought it would be easier. This is the mini mystery mandala number 3 from Chatelaine Designs. This is my small chatelaine. I also bought a big one, but I wanted to do the small one first to make sure I liked stitching them. And I am doing mine with all the called for silks, the NPI silks and Dinky Dyes and Threadworks, I think is the other one. This is what my floss ring looks like. These blues from NPI are like nothing I've ever seen before. They're so beautiful. But this is being stitched on a 28 count mushroom Lugana. And I think I have a progress picture. So here's where I was when you last saw this. The last time I worked on this piece was during my New Year's Eve 12 by 12 at the beginning of this year. And I had just finished part 1 and I was starting in on part 2. And I have almost fully finished part 2. So I had about here and here done. So I went through and finished this black cross here. Then I added in these corner motifs and did this border stitching, which a big chunk of the border are actually Rhodes stitches. So these are specialty stitches that are kind of hard to see, but they're really, really cool. And I got some Algerian eyelets here. You can see this project is really hard to show how beautiful it is. There's Krynic and beads, and it's all very intricate and beautiful. So I just have to finish the last little bit of the Rhodes stitches on this border, and then do the light blue on this side and this side, a little bit of Krynic and my beading, and part 2 will be finished. So I think if I worked on this for a few more days, I could knock out part 2 and be done with that. After that, there's only one more part, and this one will be done. But it is nice that the whole design fits in a Q-snap. This is an 11 by 11 Q-snap. Like I said, mushroom Lugana. It is so, 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 so pretty. And honestly, as far as specialty stitches are concerned, all of the ones in this one are pretty beginner, and I would say this is probably a really good introduction chatelaine. So if you're looking at starting a chatelaine but you're a little intimidated by the size, highly recommend the mini ones. They're super fun and they carry the same weight, I should say, but I love it. And then I only worked on one more whip over the last few weeks. This one like sucked me in and I couldn't stop working on it. This is Love Gains by Modern Folk Embroidery. This is a monochromatic Quaker reproduction sampler from Modern Folk Embroidery. And I will show you where I was the last time I shared this on my last video. But this is one of those whips that when I started it, I worked on it for about 1 day and then I put it away for 8 months. And so pulling it out this year, I really wanted it to look like I worked on it some, to not just look like I started it and put it in a drawer. So I think I've achieved that. And this is where I'm at on this one now. So this is a 28 count Stay with the High Lord Even Weave from Fangirl Fibers, with the floss of Salem Light from Color and Cotton. And this is Fergus coming to say hello. See, he's doing just fine. Oh, Bubbles, he's on a lot of medication, but other than that, we're peeing good, and that's all that matters. Okay, lay down, please. Okay, here we go. So anyway, since you've seen this last, I had these top 3 motifs finished, and I just started in on this one. So I finished the next row of motifs. The wording for this piece goes right underneath these, and I'm going to do a quote from A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is why I have my Valaris needle minder on here. Instead of the charted quote, I just want it to be something bookish and a little bit bookish related. And because this even weave is part of the A Court of Thorns and Roses fabric club from Fangirl Fibers, I thought it was a fitting choice. But this has some lovely variegation on these flosses. Even though doing fancy floss on a 28 count project, it's eating it, I still think it looks amazing. And this is one of those projects that I really had a hard time putting down over the last few weeks. It's so easy to work on. The even weave is so smooth to pull your stitches through, and I can put my 7-inch Morgan hoop on there and stitch an entire Quaker. So I think with this, I'm about 1/3 of the way done with the piece, minus the words, which I still have to rechart. But I absolutely love it. It's such a cool piece, and I highly, highly recommend going for it if you're looking for a good monochromatic stitch for right now. And I haven't seen anybody else working on this one either, probably because it's older. But I am very, very happy with the progress that I've made on this one since you guys have seen it. This is also a really, really nice piece for traveling because it stores really, really small in my Discovery of Witches project bag from Forbidden Fiber Company. Look at that golden tree, so good. So yeah, that is everything that I worked on stitchy-wise. I do have a little bit of haul to share, as well as those giveaway winners and book talks. So if you're interested in that, and also plans, stick around. But if not, I totally get it. So as far as haul is concerned, let me start with the more basic stuff and work my way into the more crazy stuff. So, excuse me, Fergus, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I participated in the last BeStitchMe Friday Night Fight Night for this one specific piece of fabric. So this was a new piece of fabric called Devil's Claw that Brandy was unveiling. She dyed it specifically for, I think it's Magwin by Bella Filipina. I'll show a picture of what that pattern looks like here, but she dyed this fabric specifically for that. So I was luckily able to snag a piece of 32 count linen in Devil's Claw. How flipping stunning is this fabric? It is so cool. So I snagged a fat quarter of this because Magwin has been on my list to stitch. I think she's really cool. She's a little bit frozen, a little bit like you mixed Anna and Elsa together in my mind. So anyway, I love the vibe of that, and I think this fabric is super unique and cool. It's like a neutral, but also kind of dark and vampy, and I don't know. It was worth the Friday night fight night for me. So I went ahead and snagged that. Then I got in my Color and Cotton Thread of the Month and Fabric of the Month Club for the month of February. So I get 3 all color skeins, which are limited edition, which this month are Baby Carrots, Butterfly Bush, and Green Tea. So I guess we're going full Easter this month. I would have thought for February they would have been more Valentine's-y. And then I also get 3 skeins of their classic collection, so their permanent collection. And those colors were Lilac, Avocado, and Bing Cherry. Also a really fun combination. So those 6 skeins will get thrown into my stash for stash stitching. My friend Marjorie of Marjorie Made is doing something this year where for every project she starts, she tries to make one thing from her stash. So whether you have the pattern in your stash and you're buying the fabric and floss, or you buy the pattern but you have fabric and floss at home, or just the fabric at home, whatever the case may be, one thing from your kitted project should come from your stash. And I've been really enjoying playing with my Color and Cotton Threads of the Month recently. And so I'm really, really happy to have these to add to my stash, add to that collection. Okay, and then I got the Fabric of the Month, which is lovely. So I switched from a 36 count linen to a 46 count linen because I prefer one-stranded stitching, and that's a little bit easier to guarantee with 46 count. And they have updated their packaging, which I love. So this month's fabric is called Love Letter. It is a beautiful neutral. I am in the neutral club. But I think this would actually be a great piece of fabric for my next piece of haul. So I got duped into this one from Megan, the Seattle Stitcher. As I am wont to do, Megan inspires a lot of stitching for me. But she forwarded a picture of this piece called the Rose Quaker Sampler by a long German name that I'm not going to attempt to pronounce. So I got the pattern, and the flosses for that one came in, which are all of these lovely shades of pink and brown, just the called for DMC. And I look at this, look how stunning that would be together. I might have to do that. But it is a rather large Quaker, but it's not monochromatic. It has a whole bunch of different colors, 16 to be specific. So I got that. And then the final thing that I got is when I was kitting up some of these DMCs from 123 Stitch, I threw in a pattern just because it was fun, and I don't quite know why. No, I do know why. It's because I'm part of a Mirabilia Facebook group, and I saw someone finish this and I loved it. So I picked up the new Mira, which is called Nightingale. I hate the fabric she's on, but her dress reminds me of blue and white bone china. And I think she'd be really pretty on like a blush pink fabric or something. I don't know when I'll get around to her, but she almost reminds me of, I think it's Queen Eliana from Mirabilia. I don't know, just threw it in there. Sometimes you just gotta get the Mirabilias when you see them, right? Okay, so the final thing that I've kitted up talks into plans a little bit. I am starting a full coverage. My friend Marjorie of Marjorie Made and someone else is doing it with her, but they are starting a full coverage project in the month of March, and I'm joining them. So I have everything for my first full coverage, which is going to be a Haid. The one that I've chosen is the Mini The Library, but it's the Mini Max colors. And I am super pumped about it. I think it's gonna be really fun, really pretty. I'm interested to see if I enjoy the full coverage stitch. Just to have one. So I got this massive project bag from the Fat Quarter Shop. It is their Denim and Daisies project bag. But what I like about how big this one is that I can fit all 124 colors of DMC threads, as well as my fabric, and if I can get it out of here, the, well, you can hear it anyway, the plastic bobbin box that I'll be using my Adam Hart cross stitch floss bobbins fits the whole bobbin box in here, as well as the Q-snap, the fabric, and the pattern. Although I do have this one imported into the Apple version of Pattern Keeper, which is like Markup RX. Anyway, Cam told me about it and I'm trying it out. So I will not be using the paper copy of the chart. but I have like my floss list and stuff. So I am slowly working on putting all 124 of these, pre-cutting them and putting them onto my floss bobbins for that start in March. So I did pick up all of the supplies for that. Joann's was also running their 45-cent skeins sale on DMC this last weekend for President's Day, and I went and bought, I think 97 of them at the discounted price, and then just grabbed what I couldn't find in Joann's from 123 Stitch. So I saved a butt ton of money on the floss for this one with that sale. So thank goodness Joann's was having the sale when Marjorie was doing the stitch along and I needed to get that kit up. So I'm excited. I think we're gonna be trying the Royal Rose method. So if you're a full coverage stitcher, let me know what your favorite tips and tricks for full coverage are in the comments down below. I'm gonna be doing mine a 2/1 tent stitch on 28 count Lugana. And yeah, okay, so that is everything for that. I also wanted to tell you guys plans wise about another upcoming Sal. It is going to be my birthday rather soon on March 13th, and I am going to be starting a night walk down by the Blue Flower. So if you'd like to join in on a birthday Sal with me, I will pop the hashtag that I've chosen up here, but I would like you to, you know, I don't want you to feel locked into a certain pattern or feel like you have to stitch anything for my birthday, but if you are so inclined, pick a pattern that has a B in the title or a B in the designer's name. So like the Blue Flower would be a B, or if you wanted to stitch, I think Marjorie is gonna be stitching Bellamy, which is a full coverage piece, and the title of the piece starts with a B. So just pick something that starts with a B, or the designer starts with a B, whatever your drug of choice is on that one. And I will pop the hashtag in here that I'll be using just in case you wanted some time to think about it. I know I will probably be filming another video before my birthday to talk about it a little bit more, but wanted to put that on the horizons. And then let's do giveaway winners, and then we'll do a little bit of book talk because I have about 5 books to share with you guys. Yikes. So as far as giveaway winners are concerned, in my last video, I was giving away 4 $10 gift cards to the Top Knot Stitcher Shop to celebrate 4,000 subscribers. And so the winners of each of those gift cards, I will pop your comment in here, so take a look and make sure it's yours. But it is Genevieve Brown, who I'm super excited because I know Genevieve watches a lot of my videos and I always look forward to one of her comments. So I was super excited when the random comment picker picked her name. And then Brianna Nightingale, Mara Van Huga, and Amy G. So if you are one of those 4 people, please send me an email at the museumstitcher@gmail.com. It's linked in the description box. Don't DM me on Instagram because I do have to email you that gift card since it is virtual. So send me an email, let me know you won, and I will happily send those over. So congratulations and thank you all for entering. There were about 74 entries into that one. That was kind of crazy. And then as far as books are concerned, so let me tell you, I told myself I was going to be reading 100 books this year, and I still do plan on doing that, but I am horribly behind as of right now. And I think I'm about 4 books behind where I should be right now, but I did read about 5 of them in 1 week to attempt to catch up, and that's what happened. I keep hitting these like incredible push through reading all the time, and then I hit like a week and a half slump, and it is a combination that I don't love, but it did result in a really, really good reading week. So if you like book recs, get out your pen and paper because I got some coming your way. So the first book that I read in the last 3 weeks was I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This was kind of an impulse pick for me. I don't normally read a lot of biographies or autobiographies, but I'd heard really, really good things about this one, and it was available now in my library app as an audiobook. And what I think is really, really special about this one as an audiobook is that she is the author is the one who's narrating it. And so she infuses a lot of the scenes with her own personal feelings, and I just think that's really invaluable when you're listening to an audiobook like that. Now this covers her issues with her mother and her abusive childhood, as well as eating disorders and being a child actor. And it was such a fantastic read. She did it in such a really good way. And I was captivated from the minute I started the book until I ended it. And then I went on and watched like all of her press interviews about the book. If you've read the book and you have not watched her interview with Drew Barrymore, it's such a good interview. So go check that out. But it's a really, really intense read, but it's really, really good emotionally. And it just, I don't know, I just loved it. I devoured it so fast, and it was so outside of my normal genre. So I highly, highly recommend that one. If you are interested, go check it out. Then I read Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail by Ashley Herring Blake. This is the second book in her Bright Falls series. The first book is Delilah Green Doesn't Care. And the cover for this one is so cute. And this honestly, to me, was better than Delilah Green. But it might also just be because Astrid is a little bit more of a relatable character for me. So Astrid is Delilah Green's sister from the first book, and it follows her HGTV romance, basically. So she's an interior designer, and she ends up meeting Jordan, who is the lead carpenter on this renovation for a historic hotel house in the city of Bright Falls. And they are going to be doing like a renovation TV special for like an HGTV type situation. And, you know, Astrid is the lead designer and Jordan as the lead carpenter have to work together on TV. And then there's all these tensions and things that happen, but it's so good and they fall in love. But it's a fantastic contemporary romance if you are interested in that sort of thing. And it's so good. And honestly, it's probably because Astrid is an uptight eldest daughter and she gives off those like perfectionist vibes, and it's extremely relatable if you're someone who is an older child, especially an older daughter. It's just incredibly relatable, and it's a fantastic queer romance. So if you are looking for one that's really, really good, I highly, highly recommend this one. I am greatly looking forward to the third book in this series. And yeah, fantastic, fantastic contemporary romance. Anybody want to clock the number of times I say fantastic? Then I read, this one was so surprising. This is My Oxford Year by Julia Whelan. Julia Whelan is an audiobook narrator, and this is her first foray into writing herself. She has read some of my favorite audiobooks, including The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and she also read a lot of the Emily Henry books, including People We Meet on Vacation, and her voice is fantastic, and she is the one narrating her own book. But I picked this up because I studied abroad in undergrad in the city of Oxford, and I was so ready for a fun contemporary romance that had all of this nostalgia for me, and it certainly did, because it follows this woman who gets a Rhodes Scholarship to go to Oxford and study for a year, and she ends up falling in love with this hot British professor. And it's one of those things where, you know, they're walking around the city and the sights that they're seeing are places I used to go all the time, or, you know, fun things about the city that I remember. And I loved like going to Moo Moo's, which is a milkshake shop. And I loved going to Moo Moo's, and it's one of those kind of Oxford staples. But anyway, full of nostalgia. But about halfway through the book, it takes this incredible turn, and I won't spoil anything, but it does get extremely emotional, and I was not prepared for it in the slightest. And so basically I ended up crying in my bed at 11 p.m. when I thought I was reading just a fun rom-com. But it's a great book. She did a great job as a debut author, and kind of really put her mark on herself, not just being an audiobook narrator. And she has another book coming out later this year that the main character is also an audiobook narrator, and I am really, really interested to read that, especially now that I know I love her writing style. Just be prepared. There's a huge flipping twist and probably a few trigger warnings for some emotional stuff. If you need to check those before you start reading, I highly recommend that you do. I was not prepared, and it's awesome. It took me by surprise, but wow, did I end up reading a different book than I thought I would. So that's My Oxford Year. Then I read Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan. This one I picked up because it was short and available now, and I just needed something. But I knew going into it, this probably wasn't going to be my favorite book ever. and it wasn't. It was a solid 3-star read for me. So it follows this woman who her husband leaves her with 2 kids, and she ends up writing a screenplay about him leaving her, and they move into her house to film part of it, and she ends up kind of falling for the lead actor in the movie. I just read earlier this year a book that followed a romance between a woman and a famous actor that was so much better than this one. It was fine. It didn't blow me away. I didn't hate it, but I just wasn't like sucked in. Like, it was just fine. So I don't know that I'd recommend it, but if you need something, I'd check this one out. I think the writing was solid. It was just, for me, the story wasn't as entertaining. It didn't pull me in as much. And then finally, I just had to tell you that I am in the middle of doing A Court of Thorns and Roses reread or re-listen on really high speed, just because when Fergus was in the hospital on Saturday, I needed something to occupy my brain that I didn't have to think about. And for me, that's ACOTAR. So this will be my 4th time reading ACOTAR, and I finished the first book and I'm into the second, and I just love it. It fills something in my soul, and it's just easy when I don't want something to focus on. And yeah, so I'll be finishing that up and then reading some other stuff, since I didn't read a whole lot of my planned reads. For this month, March is gonna have to be a pretty big catch-up month for me. So look forward to some more recommendations. So I believe that is everything for this video. If you stuck with me this long, go ahead and leave me. Let's do the cat emoji with the heart eyes, since we've talked about cats so much this video. I know I haven't asked you guys to leave me a specific emoji in a while, so that should be pretty fun. But I want to thank you guys all again for your thoughts and prayers and understanding with all of my cat issues for not filming last week. It felt really, really good to be back and talking to you guys again. And I cannot wait to get some more stitchy progress in on a few more things, and then do some really, really fun planned starts for next month. March is gonna be an awesome stitchy month, and I hope that you guys stick around for the ride to see what ends up happening. So email me if you're a giveaway winner, and if not, I hope that you have an amazing few weeks and that you get a lot of good stitchy progress in, or read some really good books, and let me know what they are if you do. I always will take book recs from you guys. You have some really, really awesome ones, and I will always read them. So take care, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.